Great. Okay, it's wonderful to have you all here at this Q&A session for Long School of Medicine. We always have a lot of questions about Veritas, and during interview day presentations, I never have enough details to say, and I always wish that our students were there in that part. And I know y'all get some other things asked and answered during the rest of interview day, but we're focusing on the Veritas program at the beginning of this session. So we have Maddie Barnett here and Chris Cairo, and they have had leadership for many years in Veritas. Please, they're senior students, yay! Almost finished. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So Maddie, why don't you start first and introduce yourself, give us a little about you, and then tell us about Veritas.
All right, so again, my name's Maddie Barnett. I am a fourth year student here at the Long School of Medicine. I came here, I went to TCU in Fort Worth for undergrad, and I'm also part of the JAMP program. So I got to do a summer program here at UT Health San Antonio. And that was one of the main reasons I decided to come here, because I had such a really great experience and really felt home here in the environment at Long School of Medicine. And now I'm through my 4 years almost, and I am planning to go into OB-GYN. So currently in the middle of interviews and the application season for that. I got involved with Veritas from the beginning, getting involved with leadership as a first year student, and then continuing with leadership throughout the 4 years, and now serve as one of the lead MIMs. So kind of an overview picture of what Veritas is. It is a longitudinal peer mentor career advising system that we have here at Long, where when you come in as a first year student, you get sorted into societies and families. We have 5 societies, and within each society, we have 4 families. And once you're sorted into a family, you get to meet the rest of the people. So as second years, you have the opportunity to serve as what we call Veritas peer advisors, or VPAs. So each family has about 2 to 3 VPAs. And then as third year students, you kind of, you're really busy with your clinical rotations. So there's no direct leadership role like a VPA with that, but you still have meetings that you attend regularly with your Veritas families. And then as a fourth year student, we have what are called mentors in medicine, or MIMs. And again, there's about 2 to 3 MIMs per family. And the fourth year students kind of help really advise the second and third year students as they're going through those aspects of the curriculum. And then each family also has a faculty mentor. And many of our faculty mentors that we have been with the Veritas program for many years. And then we've also have some newer ones. So kind of as they're stepping into different parts of their career, a lot more want to get involved with students. And so the Veritas program is a perfect way for them to be able to do that. And then we also, our last position that we have is our RAMs, which are our residents advising medical students. And so each family typically has about 1 to 2 RAMs. And those residents are able to offer their unique kind of perspective and advising for each of the families. And so the basic structure is we have usually about every month, each class will have a meeting. And the MIM fourth year students are the ones who primarily lead those meetings. And they cover a wide variety of topics that I'll let kind of Chris dive into a little bit more. But then lots of other events kind of throughout the year to kind of just build community on campus, build relationships and connections between different classes, offer some career advising. So as you start to get an idea of what specialty you want to go into, there's usually a fourth year student or resident in all the available specialties that you can connect with and talk to. So it's really kind of this just resource that you have all 4 years here at the Long School of Medicine, and starts from day one just to get you integrated and connected with the community.
That's a great start to this. Thank you so much, Maddie. I did not know about the resident mentors. That's wonderful. And to carry it through into that stage, the next step for everybody, I think is kind of neat. I think it's kind of unique. I love to point out the things that we do strongly or uniquely. And I think that that's probably pretty unique. I did want to ask you, I bet other people were thinking like, how many people in a family? And I think in third year, people are so busy doing their clerkships that they're not very active in Veritas, right? So what does that leave in terms of numbers of a family?
Yeah, so for as first year students, obviously there's about 10 to 12, I would say, per family. And then involvement kind of varies by family as you move into the second, third, and fourth year, depending on kind of what relationships are built there and kind of how much people are kind of what resources they're getting out of their the different meetings. And so usually we'll have about, I think maybe on average about 8 students attend some of the like second year meetings, and then third year there's a lot fewer meetings third year. And so one thing we're actually trying to do is adjust what we're discussing in these meetings to really promote involvement. And we want students to come to these meetings and get out of it what they want to. And so our upcoming third year meeting that we're having is going to be specialty based. So rather than meeting directly with your Veritas families, as third years, they're starting to think about what specialties they want to start thinking about applying to. And so we're going to have meetings designed specifically for different specialties to where they can start reaching out to those MIMs and residents who are in those specialties. So we kind of adjust each of the meetings per the different years so that they're actually getting some valuable information out of it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, now Chris, you're up.
Hi there. So my name's Chris. I'm a fourth year med student. I'm interested in going to emergency medicine. So I'm applying for residencies currently, which is why I'm wearing a suit. I never wear these. So you're probably thinking to yourself like, Maddie, Chris, why does all this matter? Why are you telling me all about these first year, second year, third year? I don't even know what all this means. So really, like, why do we do this? And the transition to med school is pretty difficult. I can speak from experience that I had some gap years in between my time from undergraduate to med school. So that transition is tough. And med school is, especially that first exam, there's a lot of room for time you're kind of adjusting to a new study schedule, a new city, a new program. There's a lot going on. And you're having like 3 or 4 classes. There's all these schedules, all those tests. How are you able to kind of center all of it? And I think that's what Veritas's role is. There's second years, third years, and fourth years, all who've been in the same position that you are currently in about how do I figure all this out? How am I able to balance, med school in addition to my own life, my own interests and hobbies? And I think Veritas is the best outlet for that. You have your second year VPAs, which are your ICs, your main support group. And you're in the Veritas family. They're the people who've been the least removed from your current position. They were just in there like a year ago. So they know exactly the feelings, they know the class that you've been through, they know all the study resources and the best tips and tricks on how to succeed during your first semester or first year in med school, knowing how to balance all the classes and the fine minutia of adjusting to a new city. Third year, like what Maddie was saying, is a time for you to kind of go off into clinical rotation. So we hardly ever see you all that much, but we are starting to adjust for third years by having specialty specific meetings where you get to learn a little bit more about the programs that you are currently rotating in or potentially interested in. So that's one way that we're trying to, accommodate and adapt to the new kind of virtual environment and clinical environment as well. So fourth year is also, so our role as a MIM as a fourth year is that since we're the least removed from y'all, or most removed, is that we kind of help with more with the professional identity formation, networking, and that really goes into hand in hand with our RAMs as well and our faculty mentors. That's where a lot of the clinical correlation, a lot of the professional development comes in from, is because they are actually doctors. They are the ones who are getting paid. They're the ones who are in charge of patient care. So having their involvement and having their input is crucial to the development and success of Veritas. And that's something that we greatly, highly value. And it's something that we really wanted to really work on this year, is incorporating and really expanding our resident advisors for med students program, getting residents more involved with the meetings from on a biweekly basis, incorporating more one-on-one meetings so that you have that network and that support system to help you succeed, not only during your first year and first semester, but throughout your entire tenure as a medical student. It's each year is different, and that's something that you kind of just experience as time goes on. First year is kind of a saying like, I have no idea what is up and what is down. I don't even know where the bathrooms are at. Second year is like, oh, I kind of have a good handle. And third year is a completely different world from first and second year. So it's good to have that guidance. It's good to have counseling. It's good to have that support system, especially from people who have been in your very shoes before. It's something that I think Veritas has a very unique and very well received niche on our campus here. I think you may be muted, Dr. K.
That's right. Sorry. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I have a couple, but I want to give y'all a voice. So if you have a question, you can either put it in the chat or just please unmute. You know what we forgot to do? We forgot to say hi the human way. So everybody needs to unmute and say hi. Hi, Chris. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Dr. K. Hi.
Hello.
It's so nice to hear voices, you know, and it's a small enough group. If you wanted to stay unmuted, that's perfectly fine. But what questions do you have about it? We always get a lot of questions. Yes. Do you say Kina or Kiana?
Kiana.
Kiana, that's pretty.
Yeah, thank you. So I was wondering if the families are sorted, are arbitrary, or if there's some sort of sorting process, and then are they the same throughout your 4 years, or do you like change families as your interests change?
So they are, from what I understand, randomly sorted. We are given as leaders. So Chris and I have served as the lead VPAs, and we've served as the lead MINs. And so we are given a list of all the students pre-sorted out into families. And for the most part, you will stay with that family all 4 years. The only exceptions to that is if you serve as, like, say, a leader, and we may need more help, say, with this other family in terms of leadership, you may get moved, but that happens maybe once or twice every couple of years. So for the most part, you are with that same family all 4 years.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have any specific questions? I have a couple. I'll get you, Kiana and I will get you kind of warmed up here. So I think I always say on interview day, I say this several times, in several different areas, we do some serious things and we do some fun things. So I want to know about some of the fun things. The societies, we have 5 societies, and they're all named after people who are important to Long School of Medicine, people who founded the school or people who founded big efforts. But they're colored also. They have various colors. And so anyway, y'all talk, Maddie and Chris, y'all talk about some of the fun things that you do.
Yeah, I kind of equate a lot of the houses to, if any of you are Harry Potter fans, like Hogwarts houses. So we have like Jones Green or Rockwood Yellow or McPhee Blue. So there are 5 different colors, like what Dr. K was saying. So a lot of the fun things that we do, it's a lot of it is family specific. So like Maddie and I are in charge of our own family. So like for me, for example, like I'll have like a barbecue like once a month where everyone in our family can come by my house to have a good time. Not talk about medicine, whatever you want to do. And so I grill up some patties, maybe some like pork butt or some brisket, and it's a really good time. I used to have a house where it was a pretty sizable backyard, so we would all bring our dogs over and they would all have like little puppy play dates. So that was always fun too. But as a society, a lot of us do like a fall festival. So we did that these past few weeks ago, where a lot of people can go trick-or-treating to each department, like for research or UME or like the community service learning. And you can learn more about those different kind of programs. If you were interested about research, that would be the potential in for you. It's like, oh, I went to your little trick-or-treating event and I found out I got some candy and found out a little bit more about your program. So we have events like that. We also have holiday festivals. So either around the fall and in the spring, we have different festivals that are out in the Alt-C courtyard, which is our big outdoor space that a lot of events take place in. And we're able to have community there and be able to either have, catered food like brisket sandwiches, or have like ice cream, like with the deans, a lot of different unique opportunities and social events that are built for either community or network building or what have you.
Great, thanks, Maddie.
And yeah, and a couple of the other big events, especially for first years. So right off the bat, retreat. So for when you come in, we do a big retreat that's led by Veritas. And this is kind of your first introduction into who your family is. You get to know your VPAs really well. And usually this is a kind of a day-long event. We go out and play a lot of games, do some team building, just get to know a little bit more about the community and environment here at Long. And then flash forward to towards the end of your MS1 year, we have a big event called Color Wars, which all throughout the year, you're trying to gain points again for your societies. As we mentioned, we have Holly Red, McPhee Blue, Jones Green, Rockwood Yellow, and Estrel Purple. And so you compete to gain points for your team, kind of like the Hogwarts Cup and all that. And at the end, Color Wars is like this big field day event where you play games outside. Usually there's like a baking competition we've had in the past. And so it's just a big event. A lot of times we're also celebrating the 4th years because it's right after match. And so this is just a chance to kind of celebrate the 4th years, especially those that have been involved with Veritas. And faculty are invited to come out as well and enjoy the food. And so it's just kind of a big celebration for the kind of the end of the year. And we're really glad that we've been able to kind of bring this back, especially after with COVID and everything. Chris and I, our year, we were supposed to have Color Wars, and then we come back from spring break and everything's virtual. So we're happy that we're able to kind of have this big event because it is one of those like hallmark things, part of Veritas. And our subsequent leadership has done a great job of reinvigorating the Color Wars and having that big celebration at the end of the year.
That's great. That's so fun. So what other questions might y'all have for Chris and Maddie? It's a lot of fun, Nicholas. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun just watching from afar too. So let me ask you this. I say on interview in one way or another or several times that there's a lot of great support here. And if you feel like you're overwhelmed or you're confused or you need guidance or you had like a tough situation, I think our student affairs teams, curriculum teams, so many people are very supportive and are there to support you and respond to that. But I think it probably happens a lot in the families too, that you've got somebody to say, that test was brutal, or, I'm having a hard time in some setting or another. Can you all speak to that?
Right. So like what we were saying earlier was that the good thing with the MIMS and the VPAs is that we're all students who've been in your similar shoes in the past. So we know exactly, like for the certain, like a module test, like if it was like a biochemistry, like we all know the kind of ins and outs, the highs and lows of biochem. So we're like, oh yeah, that test was really hard. Or now, hey, it's over. So we can all go celebrate. So definitely having that good support system, that good network that's already kind of given to you on day one of medical school is a great benefit to have as a student who's trying to try to navigate the highs and lows of med school. It's really good to also have faculty mentors who are practicing attendings, who are offering one-on-ones, who are offering shadowing opportunities and exposure to the clinical environment, just so that you can get that early start to 3rd year into 4th year, and that will really ease your transition from being a preclinical student who is in the classroom to a clinical student who's working in the hospital and the clinics with the attendings. Now, what I'm really looking forward to is having more of the resident perspective as well, because they also have a very unique set of experiences and circumstances that are unique to them, but they're able to provide that and be a benefit and a resource to you as well. We also have the counseling center that's always hasn't been talked about yet. I've used that a few times when clinical rotation gets a bit overwhelming. Then they have counselors and therapists there who are able to talk to you and have either virtual or in-person meetings and rounds, and it's a really good resource to have here. Maddie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I think also just building connections with people in your own class through Veritas. I think it's kind of it's nice that you're kind of given this set family of individuals that you meet up with. One of my best friends in medical school, we come from the same Veritas family. Now we're living together. So it was just kind of an easy friendship to start from the Veritas program. And I know there's many other similar stories throughout our class of similar situations. So just kind of building that support system within your own class through the Veritas program, I think is also one of our strengths. And then as you kind of build into serving in the role as VPAs and MIMs, we as leadership play a huge role in selecting who our leadership and who serve as our VPA and MIMs. So with us being in this position, we really pay attention to those in our class who we think will serve as great mentors. And we don't take that job lightly of who we have to select and for that. And so we have a lot of confidence in our fellow VPAs and MIMs to really fill and serve those roles, to be there for especially the first year students.
That's great. Thank you. Marcelo commented on the mental health, the mental health focus. And I think that all of these details that Maddie and Christopher have talked about today make this the happy campus that people know us for, because we do pay attention to how our students feel, what they're thinking, what can we do to support and help them along. Yeah, that's great. Any other questions? Yes, Kiana.
I mean, just to piggyback on that kind of, what do you think from your time at the school, like compared to wherever you're from in Texas or San Antonio? Like how would you say the values of the students and like the general vibe of the school is, however you interpret that question?
Oh, it's top notch. I think it's one of the top tier schools and on the interview trail. And something that when I interview students, that's something that I always try to emphasize is that we pride ourselves on having one of the most laid back and most refreshing interviews on the interview trail. We really want to make sure that you feel welcome, that you feel like a warm presence from us, because we already like you. We already sent you the invitation. You have what it takes. We just want to get to know you more. And so having more of a welcoming party and a welcoming crew to really welcome you to our program is really what makes a difference. And that I felt that for sure when I came to interview way back when. That was 4 years ago, Dr. K. I remember because I was actually thinking about this today. I actually got into a wreck on my way to my interview back when they were in person. And the faculty and the staff here were right on top of like addressing all my concerns and having the balance of finding a brand new car, a rental car, and also having to interview that same day as well. So I felt very well supported, and it's been my entire tenure here for the whole 4 years is being well supported and being propped up. I've been given opportunities to lead, to start and develop programs here, and that's something that I don't take lightly at all, and it's something that I'm entirely grateful for. Would do it 10 out of 10 times again.
That was quite a day. I remember you were, he had an accident, but made it in and was like, I think you were late and I don't think you had your interview clothes on. Yeah, and we were like, it doesn't matter. It was quite a day.
I was 1 minute late. I was so disappointed.
Oh, okay.
And I had gotten, thankfully I was already wearing my suit, and the cop was able to take me from the rec site straight to the school. like, hey man, can you like put the lights on just so we can
Oh,
so
how
they can
funny.
drop me off for this interview while in a cop car? That'd be good.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really good time. It was wouldn't recommend the rec, but it was
Yeah.
a good experience.
Maddie, what are you going to add?
Yeah, I will just say I mentioned that I got to spend a month here the summer before like the application season as part of the JAMP program. And I think, and with that, like had the opportunity to apply to an interview at most of the schools in Texas. So I really got kind of a perspective of a lot of the different programs. And Long was actually my very first interview that I had during that season. And I will say, I just never felt more welcomed and like wanted at a program compared to how I was at Long. And so I think that was really the biggest difference, is that they really showed interest in their applicants and their students, and made it known as to like why they wanted them to be a student here and why I had an interview. And I think that made all the difference in making me feel at home here, and knew that I would be supported throughout the 4 years. And I think that just kind of held true throughout the rest of my interview season. And when it came down to rank, it was definitely not the easiest decision. I'm from Dallas, so just trying to, and that's where 99% of my family lives. And so kind of balancing the family support I would have maybe in Dallas compared to the school support I had here. And ultimately, I think having the support that Long provides really made the difference. And so I wouldn't choose anything else going back 4 years. I'm glad I ended up here.
We are too. I tell y'all all those great things, and I don't say this every interview day, but I check to make sure that the messaging that I'm giving you all as applicants and interviewees is the right message, and because I need to change it and, tell the truth to people. But it's really, I get these answers back that people are happy with their decision and happy here. It's a happy place. Okay, any other Veritas related questions? We can always come back. But okay, so thank you. And we're going to turn off the recording now.